Now, what started off as a protest against rising fuel prices in Kazakhstan have in fact turned violent and have also spiraled into an anti-government type of a movement. The situation has escalated so much that the very first batch of Russian-led peacekeeping forces have now been deployed to try and stabilize the country. With internet shutdowns and also the true extent of the violence at this point of time not being clear, the Kazakh media has reported that at least about dozens of protesters have been killed in the city of Almaty when they tried to storm the government buildings. And also there were several armoured vehicles, personnel and dozens of troops entered into the main square of Almaty where hundreds of people had been protesting against the government. Now, according to reports that have come in, the National Bank of Kazakhstan has also decided to suspend work in the banks in the country for the safety of their workers. Now, this is the third day of protests that have rocked the country. The reports are also coming in that protesters have surrounded two large hospitals in Almaty and are not letting patients and medical staff inside. The residents of the city were informed that an anti-terrorism operation was going to take place, and they were asked to take shelter and also to stay away from windows. So far, 12 police and National Guard troops have been killed and about 353 others have been wounded, and almost about 1,000 people have been injured in the unrest so far, which has taken place in several regions of Kazakhstan. In the country's largest city of Almaty, apparent gunshots were heard near the mayor's office and also the buildings were set on fire. Explosions were heard throughout the city as protesters and the police clashed. The president also very quickly imposed a nationwide state of emergency and denounced the protesters as terrorists and bandits who seized 5 planes from Almaty's airport and also targeted buildings where arms were located. The president has also said that he had appealed for help to a Russian-led alliance in quelling these protests.
Угрозы. На самом деле это уже не угроза. На самом деле это подрыв целостности государства, и самое главное – это нападение на наших граждан, которые просят меня, как главу государства, в срочном порядке оказать им помощь.
The oil-rich country of about 19 million people is estimated to have 1 million people who are living below the poverty line, but also has several billionaires on the Forbes list. One of the 5 ex-Soviet nations in Central Asia, Kazakhstan is a crucial economic partner to Russia. It is also home to a large number of ethnic Russians who live there. Now, Moscow has, of course, reacted on the situation in Kazakhstan. It has called for a peaceful solution through dialogue and not through rioting on the streets. But remember, the people in Kazakhstan are out on the streets because of the rise in the price of petrol, diesel and cooking gas. Now, this is the worst protest that Kazakhstan has witnessed in almost over a decade. So what has sparked these protests in the first place? Well, it started when the government decided to bring what it described as reforms in the fuel market. Basically, it decided to remove a state price cap for butane and propane. Now, these are cheap fuel that are used by the poor. And when the policy came into effect on the 1st of January, the government expected supplies to meet the domestic demand. The measure backfired and then prices doubled overnight. Some regions of the country rely on butane and propane for refueling. Almost 90% of its vehicles and other motor fuels like gasoline and diesel are even costlier. A lot of the anger was also aimed at Nur Sultan Nazarbayev, the former president of the country whose rule has spanned nearly 3 decades. He is widely seen as the main political force in Nur Sultan, and his family is believed to be in control of much of the economy, which is the largest in Central Asia. But a younger generation is demanding for liberalization. It is as witnessed in other states of the former Soviet Union. In a bid to curb the protests, the president has ordered for the incumbent cabinet to reverse the fuel price rise and has also sacked Nazarbayev as the head of the powerful Security Council. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.